Hey everyone, we are back with Midwest Chingóna, and I am here with an amazing co-host, Lori Peters. Lori, how are you? And thank you for
I'm
joining
good.
me.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited to have you. I'm here with some amazing guests today.
I'm excited to
Hello,
be back.
hello.
Thank you for having me.
So without further ado, I finally got the amazing Dan Smith and Charon Thompson. How are you guys doing tonight?
Wonderful.
Pretty good.
Thank you for having us.
I know it's been a long struggle of trying to get you guys on the podcast time wise, and you guys are doing an amazing broadcast too. So I'm glad to have you guys on tonight.
Deanna, it's okay. You don't have to tell us that you didn't really want us on, and we needed a space to fill.
He's
So it's
always
okay.
right. It is
I'm
about
just
that.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, I'm so excited to introduce you all to the Latino community in Kansas City. If you do not know about Sharon and Dan, I hope you'll get to know them a lot better here tonight, and then hopefully reach out to them afterwards because they are doing some amazing work in their community. And I hope that our communities can start to reach out to them and build some bridges with them as well. So, without further ado, let us start with you, Dan. Tell us about who you are, and I'm going to do a little bit about what you do. Shout outs.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I love your guys' shout outs. That's like the funnest thing. So we'll go to you, Lori, too. So Dan, go ahead and start us out with some shout outs.
Awesome. Shoot. Kind of put us on the spot. I'm
Right?
here.
No pressure. No
No
pressure.
worries. No worries. I'm here at Chess Inc. right now. And so I would be remiss not to shout these guys out, Ron and Coley and Squad, for what they're doing for the community, for the housing community, low-income housing and credit restoration, all that good stuff. They're a HUD-approved organization. So Chess Inc., I'm going to give them a shout out. I want to shout out Square One Business, the Mid-Continent Library, Morgan. They had a great guest or show today. At the end, I think you got to watch a little bit of that. That was a phenomenal learning experience there. There's always so many people to shout out, and I always forget somebody. Michael Cremona and what he's doing, they're dope. I just talked to Michael yesterday, so he's awesome. There's just so many, so that's it. Who you got, Sharon? I know you got a
I
list.
got Kiana Sinks. I want to shout out Lauren Thompson, my wife. She's doing some amazing stuff at Amethyst Place.
I got to shout out my wife too. Sorry.
Too late. It's too late, Dan. You messed up. No, but yeah, I want to shout out my wife. She's doing some amazing stuff at Amethyst Place, which is for domestic, they drug rehab women, and it's off of Truce. And she's been doing that for about 3 months now. So she's doing very well with that. And I like to give a shout out to Kiana Sinks, Morgan Perry, the library, Mid-Continent, Sheila Johnson, Cynthia Fields, Kristen Fields, Carletta Temple, Terrell Jolly. I can go for a while, but I'm not going to go for a while because I'll be all day. So, yeah, just everybody in general that is in our circles. So I love you guys. Thank you. That's my shout out.
Yes. So my turn.
Yes, Lori.
Okay, so Deanna, I really want to give you a shout out for this platform because, as you know, I've been hesitant. So this opportunity to share and then to learn about the bridges to build with everyone within our community. And then a shout out to Edgar and Susanna because they're bringing different things to the table to open and expound the community. And it's really exploded because I'm learning so much. And then I think right now, that's all I have. And then actually to Mr. Peters, because he's supporting me because he just thinks, girl, you are crazy, but as long as you're doing you, then keep doing it. I got you. So
Mr. Peters is amazing. Yes, he is. No, I wanted to give a special shout out to Edgar Palacios, who was doing this podcast with me. And since we kind of evolved, we've decided to do Latinas and Chicanas on this co-hosting. So he kind of took a step back, but he is still checking in on us and asking for any support and guidance that we need. So I definitely want to give a shout out to him. So
nice.
All right. So either one of you, if you want to start, tell us your story. Let's start there because there's a lot to tell.
So I'm going to start off with me. Because Dan, he's going to go for a long time.
No, I'll be
so
quiet. Whatever.
I'm going to start off with me. So I'm a military brat. I'm not originally from Kansas City, but I came here when I was around, I want to say 10-ish. And I love Kansas City. I give everything to Kansas City. I was actually born in Massachusetts, and then I eventually came here with my mom. My grandma, she lived here, and she passed away, bless her heart. And it's just, Kansas City gave so much to me being raised up here. I went to Lincoln College Prep. First, I went to Lincoln Middle, then I went to Lincoln College Prep. Graduated high school from there, and then I went to UMKC, and I had a great time there. That's when I pledged Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated with Dan, and he was on my line. And being raised up, Dan, I didn't know Dan was going to the same YMCA I was going to when I was in high school. And I was like, man, how come we never met each other, but we know all the same people? So our circle was the same, but we never knew each other like that. So that was a weird story right there. But Dan and I, we met in college, and from there, we just been together ever since. And that was like spring 01, spring 02, around that area. And then from there, we just took off and we started a couple businesses. The first business we started with Smith & Thompson Maintenance. With the Smith Thompson Maintenance, we was going to my mom's cabinets and looking for like stuff to clean houses with. So we had an opportunity to clean houses, our apartments, when people moved out of their apartments. And Dan, it was hard. It was a tough job. So Dan and I have been doing that. We did that for 2 years or so, and we also started a detail mobile company, and it was Smith Thompson Detail Mobile company. So from there, we just kept going, and we saw the need for because we didn't mess up, but it was like a learning experience because we did not know what we was doing. We didn't have no guidance. We didn't have no mentors. We didn't have nothing. So it was like, bam, here it is. Here's the business. But from our mistakes, we learned from it. And we just like, man, we got to create something where people like us will, learn how to operate a business and learn how to have their money right. So Dan and I, we created this Entrepreneur, the Porterhouse KC, through our experiences and our fails. And you always get better when you fail because you have a learning or a background behind that. But Dan and I, we started that, and we've been going strong for 3-4 years now with the Porterhouse KC. And I'm gonna wrap up because Dan, I know he wants to bust and tell his story, but basically going to be the same story. But no, go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
I'm glad you got your chance first, Sharon, because it usually is Dan.
I know.
So I'm glad. See, it happened.
It felt so good. It was like me first.
Yeah.
I know.
And I'm glad it happened here. Sharon, I do want to add that another point that's so important to add there is that you have empathy for the people you're working with, because you were in those situations. And I think we've had those conversations even with myself as I grow, that you know what that is like because you've been there. And I think that's so important when you're helping other entrepreneurs to know the feeling of what they're feeling, even though you may have grown from that point already, but you were there, and you know you can get out of it. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, even though you're going to be tough like I am and like, hell no, this is where I stand, you're still going to be like, yeah, okay. You're going to grow.
Because thing is, people don't like to fail. You know, you want to win at everything you're doing. So it's like, dang, I'm failing. I'm thinking bad. Should I start up again, or should I do it this way? So it's, to me, a business is always a chess and a test. Everything you're gonna do is a test, like a chess game. So you're gonna try out the market. You know, you're gonna try different styles. This might not work, but this worked. So you're gonna keep going with what's working with you. So yeah, it's just, that's how we had to do it, and that's how you should operate your business.
Absolutely. So go ahead, Dan.
I know he's like,
I'm just listening. I love
I
it. So yeah, Dan Smith, born and raised here in Kansas City. I actually went to Milton Moore Elementary School, and that is right off of Linwood Boulevard. And if you didn't know, so back in the day, we used to have the schools that are themed, right? And Milton Moore was actually a Spanish magnet elementary school. And so for 6 years, K through 5, I went to Milton Moore, and it was all Spanish magnet. And I know muy poquito español, even though
he knows more than Deanna and I.
Half of my education was in Spanish. It was crazy, right? I don't even know how I got through elementary school, because I really don't even know any Spanish right now. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. Just muy poquito. I went to Cabo 2 years ago, or last year. Was it last year? No, it was 2 years ago. And my wife was like, dude, like, all right, you don't have to like show that you can speak a little bit of Spanish. Because I was just saying whatever I could say to anybody that I could say it to without looking. I was already looking silly, but anyway, yeah, I went to Milton Moore Elementary, Paul Robeson Middle, and I graduated from Bishop Hogan High School, and that actually was a private school at that time. So my mom was like, we got to figure this out. Let's get you somewhere else. And so she put me in a private school. That was awesome. And then I went to MWC, like Charon said, and that's where we met. And like you said, a lot of that story is pretty much the same, right? But we did start the Porterhouse with that thought in mind of how to bridge gaps between folks that have and folks that do not have, right? The haves and have-nots. We've met a lot of people, you know, just kind of in our upbringing and business endeavors and fraternity life and all these other stuff, the stuff that we've done, corporate America. And so we felt like we've amassed a good amount of network to be able to bring those resources to folks that look like us and that come from where we come from. So that's kind of where it started. And we felt like, everything there's a basis in, and we felt like our basis was education. And so we wanted to just educate folks. We wanted to try to bring as much free education as we could to folks, because we felt like it's an equalizer. Education is more of an equalizer than a lot of things. So we started with these speaker series events where we start bringing people, consummate professionals, once a month, free sessions. We provided food, and originally it was out of our own pockets. We every month, for the last 3.5 years, we've been doing this. After year, I think 1.5, the Kaufman Foundation kind of start hearing it, listening in and finding out what we were doing. And we had some folks from Kaufman start coming to our sessions, and then they were able to sponsor the food at our sessions. So we didn't have to pay for the food out of our pockets. We was actually, it was sponsored by the Kaufman Foundation. So that was really exciting. And then we just kept moving and felt like we can dive in a little deeper. I know we're kind of going beyond just the general introduction now, right? But
I know.
I feel like I can't stop now, so I'm gonna just
see.
keep going.
Told you.
So we got the we felt like we could dig in a little more, and so what we decided to do, we start brainstorming. We try to figure out, what is the next thing? What can we do to like dive in deeper with the entrepreneurs that we are trying to support? And outcome came the idea to create a space, an incubator that housed first tier, second tier business owners that are retail based primarily, but we had other space for those that are not retail based. But let's try to figure out a way to get them a space where they can actually sell their products, low overhead. They don't have to worry about keeping the lights on. They don't have to worry about paying the water bill and things like that. All they need to focus on is trying to figure out if their concept is viable, working, right? Yeah. We wanted to help them provide, be put in a place where they can actually test their proof of concept. And so that's why we kind of started that space. And so with the relationship that we built with Chess Inc., and Chess Inc. originally started as our fiscal agent, and now we're a partner in this. We've evolved into partners. Chess actually purchased a space right off of 31st Street for us to be able to house this space inside of. So we're still under construction, so we're still building.
Process.
It's exciting just to think about what's to come. And then we also started, like I said, we wanted it to be a lab environment. So we didn't want just to have this space for folks to just come in and just work out of. We wanted to make sure that folks were learning something. And so that's where the educational piece came in. And so we went up and met some guys in Cincinnati that was doing some similar things. And they had actually created a curriculum a few years ago. And they're Kaufman's funded organization as well. And so we connected with them. We actually went up to Cincinnati a few times. They came down here a few times. We made this really cool bond with those guys. And now we license their curriculum. And we are set to start our first ever Porterhouse KC cohort this Saturday. So we're really excited about that.
What? Yeah.
Is there a specific group or age group that qualifies? Because you shared that education levels the playing field, and I 100% agree with that. I am actually an educator at Central High School, and I have students who, Ms. Peters, I'm going to own my own business, but they don't know exactly how to like the first steps. I have young ladies who can throw down on some hair and do eyebrows, but I want them to be more than renting a booth in somebody's shop. I want them to own their shop and let somebody rent from them. But like, what is the process? Because I still keep in touch. They just graduated. But I would like to actually share this information with them. And I have young men. Not all of us want to grow up and lay down tracks and be rappers. They actually want to be auto techs and build cars, and and I share with them the story earlier that Deanna shared. Miss Peters was in a car club. We started the First Ladies Car Club in Kansas City, and they're like, girl, but they want to know how to actually own their own shop, and how to go about looking up property and getting information. And I think when Deanna asked me to come with you guys here into this format and discuss the Porterhouse, I'm like, let me ask them about the outreach to students, because 100%. Our students, they want to own and have their own.
Right. Absolutely. So we actually, so the funny thing, I'm glad you said where you actually work, because Michael Robbins is I actually played Mr. Robbins, so that's one of my fraternity brothers, and so we definitely engaged in conversations with them to try to do something more formally, and so we're excited. So you see down there the Porterhouse KC, that's our website. Okay. And so we have a full web form. So once you go to that, you can actually just type in your name, contact information, And so we'll get back with you once you fill that information out, or scroll all the way down to the bottom. There's a contact sheet down there. If you have questions or anything like that, you can fill that in as well. So yeah, that's how you connect with us. Outside of any other way, like social media with DM and every other way. So, and our phone number is everywhere too. So we're open. We're wide open.
Yeah.
We do it in a cohort style, where we have a group of individuals that come together, that we bring together because they can feed off of each other and learn from each other and kind of build together, versus just having kind of one-on-ones, a lot of one-on-ones. Now we do have conversations and things like that. However, as it relates to the full program, we try to put the cohorts together. So
Okay.
So that's kind of how we deal with that.
Yeah. That way they can help each other out.
Central High School, Blue Eagles represent.
There you go.
We went to the YMCA right across from Central, so
yep.
I used to have a lot of Central friends, Myron, Fry.
Absolutely, back in the day.
Well, and I think that's exactly why we needed you on here, just talking to the Latino community, because I didn't know about your organization or you until I started meeting people, just because of the Queer Eye connection, and then you just started meeting other people. When I found out about the program, it was like, this is like the most amazing thing ever, because it's people of the community doing things for their communities, and they keep it in the community, which is something you don't see a whole lot of. Actually, I don't know if there's anyone else doing something like what you all are doing. Is there other people doing what you're doing, or are you like the first?
No, there's folks that are doing it. Sorry, that was a fire truck. So
sorry, that was kind of loud.
Stuff is on fire. But no, we are not the only groups in this space that's doing it in this area now. Holistically, like everything that we have going on with the space, the operating space and things like that, I think we probably are the only ones doing it in that manner. But actually teaching a program, like just a basic entrepreneurship program, no, we're not the only ones that are doing that. So, but with all of this other stuff that we're doing, yes, we definitely are the only ones doing it that way.
But we are definitely given a great deal. You receive so much with going through our program than other programs, because there's so much that we have to give to you. So, and that connection, the networking connection, all of that included.
And so if anybody just wants the information, they'll just go to the website.
Yes.
Alex.
Because I was telling people to like their website, and I'm like, I'm so silly. Go to their Facebook page or whatever.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page and tap in, because we have a show that we do on Wednesday evenings too.
Yeah.
That Dan has been on.
Yeah, Deanna was on.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys share.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was asking them. I was like, who's your audience? Because again, I just feel like there's these bridges that aren't always connected. And it's like, until somebody's on that platform, it's like, oh, you were on there. And then they start to watch. But tell us a little bit about that broadcast, like, and why you started it and what's going on now with it.
Well, see, the podcast was the pivot for us, because we used to do our monthly events. And Morgan actually, was Morgan that came to us first? Or, yeah, Morgan came to us and was like, hey, why don't we do this show, see how entrepreneurs are pivoting during this time of COVID-19. And we was like, yes, we up for it, because we had to find a way to pivot or help entrepreneurs pivot during that time. And actually to keep going, or find a way to keep going with their businesses. And we wanted to hear from other entrepreneurs that were out there. That's why we had Joey Thomas in there, to see what he was doing during the time. Or, as a barber, he was a barber. So to see what he was doing during the time, and it was kind of different. He was like, he was just gonna try to find ways to make his business even better when he reopens. So yeah, that was the process that we actually had to do and create the show.
And you
Yeah,
shared, oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
You shared that there is the space that you guys have at 31st and Troost.
Mm-hmm.
Will you share about that, a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it's not on Truce. It's actually on
Oh.
31st Street.
Off 31st.
But I always say 31st and Truce just because it's a point of people know where 31st and Truce is. So it's like right across the street from Kitty's Cafe. But so the first floor is dedicated to all retail. So the folks that are in our program are actually going to have an individual space inside of there to be able to sell their products out of and services out of. And then upstairs, we have and it's a co-working space. So folks will be able to go up there, and if they need to work on their business, if they just need some time to get away from the home. You know, sometimes we work, a lot of folks work from home, and that's membership based, but it's really low as far as the fees are concerned, because that's a huge part of what we do is accessibility, and we want to make a lot of the stuff that we're doing accessible to folks that really want it. And so that's why we talked about these programs and everything else, because there's a ton of entrepreneurship programs out there that are like so expensive. Like just absorbent fees. And then afterwards, that's it. It's congratulations, you got through the program. Here's your certificate and bye. And that's just not how we work. We wanted to put together and what we did is put together a full approach where you come into our program, and not only are you getting the classroom experience, but you're also getting the actual real world learning. It's kind of like me and Charon call it, it's like a lab, right? You know, I remember in science class, you used to have to take your science class, but then you also have to take the lab where you cut the frog open and all that good stuff.
Yep.
This is that way to cut your frog open and all that good stuff. So, yeah.
It's definitely a business experiment.
I'm gonna smile and nod. Yes.
Yeah.
And we got some other few surprises at our space too. That whenever we open, everybody's gonna be completely surprised of what's there.
My publicist is texting me, aka my wife, is texting me, and she
it
said
sounds like my husband.
She said we need to make sure we articulate the big vision. And so the big vision is economic mobility, economic growth, economic stability for the communities that we come from, right? And so not only are we trying to help entrepreneurs start their businesses, but we're also helping those entrepreneurs be able to get to a point and where they can actually hire folks from the community to work, right? And because the dollar circulates longer when it's made in the community versus where it's made outside of the community and whatnot, and it just the circulation of that dollar is just so it's so much thinner. So that is kind of like the bigger picture. Is we want to create economic stability and viability for the communities that we come from.
And I think that's the most important part right there, is because even though there's other people doing work like you're doing, like you said, I think it's just something so different and so needed when you are with people that are of your community, look like you, been through the same thing, which can happen at other spaces. But I mean, I think I've had this conversation with other people. It's like those are kind of white spaces, whereas this is a space for the people of color that don't always get those opportunities, need the extra support, need just like a mentor, guider, because we don't always have the resources to access like others. You can put it out there, but that doesn't mean we're able to get everything that, we just learned about just because you taught us. It's a lot.
And the cultural competency is a huge piece of that, right? And understanding different cultures and being able to tap into those cultures and really understand what they mean and what they look for and what they stand for. You really can't get that going into some other spaces. Now, I do want to say that it is necessary that we figure out ways to communicate, but that doesn't mean that we strip down who we are to be able to communicate to someone else. That means we bring who we are and we get to learn from each other. And so that's why I love, and I appreciate you guys, obviously having us on here, because it gives us an opportunity to share, obviously to share what we're doing and whatnot, but also to learn about you guys and what you do. And we've had an opportunity. Obviously, me and Charon came down to your space and had a really good conversation, just based off of a couple of messages back and forth. You know what I mean? And so that was pretty big. But that's how it happens. It happens when you invite people into your spaces. We had that conversation too. Like, we can't be closed off to inviting people into our space, as well as other folks being closed off to us coming into their spaces and being confident and creating a comfortability, Right. But cultural competency is a huge part of that.
Right. And when we used to have our events, we wanted everybody to come comfortable. We didn't too much care about dressing up business casual or however. We wanted you to come comfortable. So in our environment, it was different from other networking events, because usually when you go to business networking events, you have to be dressed up. So with ours, it was just come as you are, come comfortable and learn. Let's get this going. Let's have an accountant come in and teach you accounting. Let's have taxes. You're learning how to do taxes, real estate, whatever. We just had you come comfortable. So that's where we came from too.
And that's what, and Charon and I did that on purpose. We actually wore like jeans and a hoodie and a hat, my baseball hat. I always got my hat on. It's either front ways or back. It's intentional. A lot of that stuff that we're doing is intentional. Like Charon with his hat turned back right now. It's so unprofessional. But no, I'm just kidding.
And a big thing was locks.
And dreadlocks,
A lot of, like when you go to, like when I was, I had my locks. I first started my locks. It was hard to get jobs. So, people look at that. And I was like, well, let me create an environment where you can have locks, and let me teach you how to start your own business. So that was another big deal with it too.
And I think what you're hitting on is so on point, because we have to white ourselves down, is what I call it, to fit a job interview. And I interviewed for this other district, and I left my red lips and my hoops on in this interview. I mean, I didn't get the job, but I was like, I'm not changing. It gets exhausting.
It is.
It's like, this is who I am, and this is just me.
It's a job on the job.
When we have to alter who we are, it doesn't change our qualifications, our certifications, our degrees, and what we bring to the table. It surely don't change my loud mouth. So.
Well, and I was told at a job that I wanted really bad. I found out the manager actually told me that, asked one of the other managers that was going to hire me, what is that on her face? Like that eyeliner. Why is she wearing that? She needs to not wear it anymore. And it's like, I've worn this since I was 11. And to actually have someone call that out, it was just, I don't know. I think it's just one of those moments where you don't think about it because it's just an everyday thing. It's you. So I've always, since that, and even before that, but I think that moment made me aware of, I'm just going to keep coming as myself. And that's why I wear my Cortez to meetings and, whatever. And my hoop, like you said, Lori, because at the end of the day, that's who I am. I'm not that professional dress person. Yeah. There you go.
You gotta wear your J's.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You got to. I don't know. Yeah. So what, because when I came to the meeting Saturday, I saw such an array of amazing, oh my God, I felt like I didn't belong. No, I didn't, not in a way that was bad, but I mean, in a way like, my God, like, there are phenomenal people in Kansas City, especially in the Black community, just breaking down barriers and just blowing up. And I didn't know anybody in there. And why the hell don't I know anybody in there? And why am I not supporting them? And you all are giving them a platform to be able to raise that voice. I mean, so is that kind of what you go for? It's just like a different array of entrepreneurs?
Yeah, we expected that. And that's the goal is to bring, to get folks that you wouldn't normally, I'm not going to even say that's the goal. Like, at the end of the day, this is a true representation of who we are, right? Like, you might not see a lot, and I'm not talking about you specifically, but I'm just saying in general, like, we might not see those folks, but that's because there's blinders, right? Where we are put into a position to see what people provide us, right? You only get to see what others put out there, and that's why this platform is so important. And a lot of these live broadcasts, because this is the opportunity for us to take I call it market share, right? We are demanding market share, right? Like, there's cultures that, and you know, I can go down this.
Go ahead and go down. Go down it.
I just, it's a thing, right? Like, the Latino culture and the Latina culture and the hip hop culture, they just get so, I mean, they're used like a lot, but we rarely get credit for that. Right? That culture really driving what that looks like and what that means, right? And so when we see something, like you said, when you see something that's kind of out of the ordinary, to see so much progression and growth. Like, I think maybe half of the group have been to college, the other half of group self-made. I mean, just a phenomenal, eclectic group of folks. And but that's where we live. That's our everyday. You know what I mean? That's not something uncommon for us, because that's what we are a part of. And that's what we force ourselves to. I mean, that's what we see, right? And so what we're trying to do is get others to see what we see, right? And us doing this gives an opportunity for other people to see what exactly we're trying to accomplish. And that's another thing. And Charon was talking about our platform on Wednesdays. That's another reason why we do that as well, right? We're forcing that conversation, and we want to have these conversations. Like, tomorrow's episode is going to be ridiculous.
Because we have to force that conversation, because we have to support one another.
100%.
Yes.
To me, we have to support. There is power in the black and brown dollar, even though it's green. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Some people think we're broke. We ain't broke. We got money.
Right.
But we don't pull. I feel we don't pull it in the right way. We'll go spend it outside of our communities when we need to start building the resources like you guys are trying to do, and empower and uplift, so we have those resources within the community, so we can spend our monies here.
And you know what? And to add to that, we are really great consumers.
Yes.
So when we talk about producing, being producers, that's a whole different situation. And so that's something that I told my wife. Like, we have to be better producers, either in content, either in like products, either in just knowledge, whatever that we're doing. We need to produce more and try to consume a little less than we produce, because once we start producing more than we actually consume, I mean, that just
blow it out. We'll blow it out the window.
Crazy. Crazy, son. Crazy.
But I think that's just exactly what we need, and we need to be hearing that more often. I think that we don't get told that enough, or shown that enough. You know, I was watching a Netflix show the other day, and that's exactly, like, if your kids aren't seeing it, they ain't going to be about it.
Right.
And I think that's why your platform, you know, especially the broadcast, that's teaching me so much and introducing me to so many people in the community, even though I may never meet them. But just the amazing accomplishments that they have done, and such perseverance at every level. I mean, some of the stories that you have, like you said, half of them have not graduated, half have, or, you know, self-made. It's so huge. And it just gives you hope that hopefully the kids are watching, and they can do that too. And that's why I'm just so grateful for the platform that you all are doing. What is up with tomorrow's broadcast? You said something about it's going to be dope. I didn't get to see what.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
I know, you're good.
No, we have so Kira Cherie, she's on. Charon, you could talk. I'm talking too much.
Yes, I know. That's what I was about to say, man.
I recognize that.
We have Kira Cherie. She's gonna be on. We have Troy Nash. He's going to be on there. And then we have Dale Gines. He's going to be there. All three of them wrote great books. Dale with the community. He wrote community books, and he wrote a book for woman in mind.
Yeah, he's with the Federal Reserve Bank. And
he's with the Federal Reserve. But the book was Minority Woman.
Yeah.
He wrote a great book on that, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but they're going to be on the show, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a dope conversation about our community, what they think can happen in our community to better our communities. So
yeah. We took a turn last week and started to talk more about community development. And so that's why we had Ezzy on last week to talk really to dive in on, what that looks like. And we're going to continue to push in that community development space. And so we're going to keep building each week on what actually can happen in our communities and what does that look like? What is actionable things that we can do to build in the communities that we serve. So
I love that you are going into that topic area, because then it does build into actionable items and how others can help and how you can ensure that we're doing something about what we're talking about. It looks like T. Lee Brown is asking how he can get involved with your porterhouse, KC. I think you talked a little bit about it, but can you kind of explain in detail how that works?
Yeah, so just kind of depends on what capacity you want to get involved. I mean, if you're interested in trying to start a business or something like that, or you actually already own a business, we have a cohort, a small business development program that we're starting. You can get that information. You can go to theporterhousekc.com and sign up. There's a link where you can sign up for our newsletter, but also it's a way for you to tap in with us. If you actually are already in a professional field and you want to lend your expertise, we do have mentorships. We're doing mentorships as well, where folks can actually mentor. You need help launching a recording studio. Yeah, so you'll be a part. Yeah. You definitely be go to our website.
And Deanna don't know it yet, but she's definitely going to be a mentor.
Breaking news. I love how Dan and Charon do this to me all the time.
Wait a minute. You do it to me so they can do it to you.
Absolutely.
There you go. And that's true. I get it back all the time.
Absolutely.
You gotta lift each other up. Support each other.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
It is. I feel like it has been such a big supportive system. And I love that you just basically said, I mean, he's asking you for help and you're like, yeah, absolutely. Like, just call us, just email, just be a part of that. I mean, that's exactly what these kids need, or I don't know if he's a kid or not, but just the opportunity of an open door, open communication for sure.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. And we're not, and that's another thing, like there's this what do I call it? I call it there's this figment of the entrepreneurship imagination, right? Like when you say that, it just feels like it's so far away from a lot of people. And there's so many people with side hustles right now that can turn those side hustles into main sources of funding or main sources of income. And it's there, it's there. T. Lee said he's 33, but he needs to show the kids where to go. Absolutely. Yep. T. But we lead by example, right? They are what they see, right? If they don't see it happening, how can it ever be, right? And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to lead by example and kind of show what can be,
So I'm a part of your program, which I'm so grateful for. And I think the part that really surprised me, because I didn't know if I would actually be able to be a part of it, but I feel like I am now, definitely after meeting everybody that's involved. But I'm opening the Chicano Cultural and Arts Center, Art and Cultural Center through this program, along with our Midwest Chicana for-profit entrepreneurship. That's double. You probably didn't know that, so surprise. But the reason I'm doing that is because people like Lori, people like Patrice, who's doing her online shop, building her business through that. It's like, I want to be able to give my community the opportunity through what I can at least start and get the tools to do, and to be able to bring them into this. But I think it's even greater that we are building a bridge to another community, that it's not just our community doing something. It is a combination of both. And I think from the very beginning, we always talked about how do we build bridges? And I think the biggest thing that always came out of that was you have to build trust. You know, you have to be able to trust each other, because there's been a lot of things that have happened, you know, where people just don't trust other people coming in from outside their community, which I totally understand. But I think once you do build that trust, and you know where I'm coming from, I know where you all are coming from, I know that we're working for the same kind of goal within our communities, I think it's just going to be a fantastic cohort to be able to bring those together.
And you know what else aids to that? Being vulnerable.
Yes.
A lot of us have blockers up, right? Because of that, because of things that might have happened in the past, and then that creates a limitation. That bridge that you're trying to cross will be that much harder to cross when you have, because you already have fear, right? We're already going to live in fear, right? Because there's already that sense. But now we have a fear, and then we have blockers up at the same time too, right? So that's going to prevent us from actually even venturing into the space where we need to be vulnerable, right? And to allow, like Charon said earlier, allow failure to happen, right? And live in failure, because it's okay. Most of the entrepreneurs that are out here now, most of the small business CEOs of companies, they've had way more failures than they have had success, right? But what keeps you going is the fact that, first of all, you know that it's going to happen, right? Failure is going to happen. So then what do you do with that failure? What do you do with that thought of failing, right? Do you just let it debilitate you, or do you keep rocking and keep pushing, right? And it's all vulnerable. Like me and Charon, we'll tell everybody, we're not even close to being the foremost expert in any of these areas, right? We just have a passion and a drive to push and to help. And so that's why we're in this space that we're in right now.
Well, and you open doors, you're giving access. And even though you may not have all the access, you're still giving the access that you have, and you're opening that up. Whereas a lot of people won't do that, even with the smallest of access. You know, it's like just kind of keeping it until there's like this bigger thing. And it's like, you know, once you start opening that access up, you just start feeling more and more empowered, because there's so many more people doing just things just like you. I say that all the time. There's 1,000 Deannas out there that are just waiting for someone to reach back, reach to the side, reach to the front, and say, hey, I want to help you, you know. But I think in Kansas City, we just have, or I don't know if that's just everywhere, but it's just this thing of, you know, we don't always reach far enough. You know, we think we are, but we're really not. And it's like, how do we change our mindset to just know that we got to go a little bit deeper, you know, and it's hard.
Yeah, exactly.
And that vulnerability, you also have to be willing to be coached. You know, coached and transparent.
Yep, you got to be open. Definitely got to be open to learn.
And I'm a knucklehead. I'm a hardhead, so I know it's hard.
I have to tell them all the time.
Robin, so
Charon tells me all the time, like, dude, you gotta chill out. You gotta get over that. It is what it is. I'm like, no, it's not.
Dan, I think you and I are very much alike, but you've grown a lot more than I have. And I know you told me too, like, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, no, it's not. This is never going to change. And it has. I mean, I think, like you said, you always said, once you just kind of let that go and you just do your thing, it just happens. It really does. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And that's, like I said, man, at the end of the day, we're just trying to create space where people can feel comfortable coming into and being vulnerable and being open. Can we promise that that something won't happen to them? That they come into a program and they not even finish the program. Can we promise that on the outside of this business, on this program, you're going to run off and you're going to make $100,000 or $1 million in your? No, like none of this is promised. Like not at all, not even a little bit. But we're creating an open space where you can come learn and come figure it out, and then and then grow in your own right, in yourself, and be able to be more comfortable and confident enough to really push and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing until you do find whatever that success is. So we're excited about it.
Right.
And I
And you
think
be in an
that-
environment where people can actually help you out. Like
Mhm.
actual professionals can help you out.
100%.
So we're not going to push you out there by yourself. You're going to actually have help, professional help with your business.
Absolutely.
We just got a subscriber to our website too. I think T just subscribed to the website.
There you go. Hey,
There you go. And I think with the space and the opportunity of the entrepreneurs that are coming in, I don't know what they look like, but if they look like us that are on this panel, there's a different comfortability and a different type of like a lesser, I guess, anxiety level that my voice isn't going to be muffled and I'll be more open to share. Because if I was in a space where it didn't look like me, I probably wouldn't come back. I'd be like, I'm good.
Exactly. I've been in that situation plenty of times. Plenty of times.
Oh yeah, I was in a whole bunch of spaces where I was like, yeah, this is not for me. Never went back.
Okay, it looks like T's having some trouble signing up. Just real quick, it is at the porterhouse.com, right? That's
Yes.
the porterhousekc.com, and I think I got it right here.
So signing up for the program, the sign up link for the actual program is closed, but we have your information now, T, so we can follow up with you, and then we'll talk a little bit further about the next steps and all that good stuff. So we got your information, we got you on there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Lori, do you have any last questions?
I do. I actually have another question. So, sometimes our students, some people will say they're ghetto or street. They're just who they are, right? But they want to be business professionals. Do you have somewhere in your curriculum that offers teens? I call it code switching. Because they seen me flip off my teacher professionalism, and then they was like, "Oh, Ms. Peters is real hood,"
Right.
That will teach them and guide them. Because I can tell you, we don't have that in our curriculum at school.
Mm-hmm.
Something that will help them in regards to professionalism, and this is what you do, and this is what you don't do.
Yeah. So we do. We actually have. That's a part of the curriculum. That's a part. It's actually in the book, specifically talking about code switching and what that means and what that looks like. I hesitate on, because you're right. You have to be able to function in a professional environment, right? I mean, that's just it. It is what it is. But at the same time, like we were talking about earlier, like trying to remove. So it's a thin line, right? It's a thin line.
Right. And you're right. I'm
But we
talking
do talk about it.
on this panel, just that function on this panel. You can't be dropping mother effers.
Right.
The N word. You can't do that on this, even with us. So
soft skills. It's awareness, right? Being aware of your surroundings, and so But that's a part of the curriculum, though. That is a part of it. But I like to drop MFs every now and again too. And I am a little open. So
it says, "I love Jesus, but I cuss a little."
Yeah.
One of my favorites.
I'm telling you, Lori is killing it over here. Trust me. She is. Hey, I'll even tell you, like, the word Chingóna was a very stereotypical word to be using here in Kansas City. I even got told not to put that in my festival, which it used to be called that, just because people weren't comfortable with it. And I think things are changing now, but it's just like that. It's the same thing. It's like, how much do you give away of yourself in order to appease those that feel uncomfortable? And I think that's a great learning that you're teaching.
I think the older we get, Deanna, it's just like,
I don't care.
Just do it.
It's a great question, but see, that's how you get. So how do you get to a place where somebody is comfortable with your vernacular and where you come from, versus you having to adapt to theirs, right? Like I feel like we've had to adapt to other people's constantly, right? And that doesn't mean that it's a right and wrong. There's not a right and wrong in this situation. It is just, this is where I come from, and this is my culture, and this is how we communicate. And that's where you come from, and that's your culture, and that's how you communicate. And it should be okay, though. Like I shouldn't judge you right? Because I should be open to learn more about you versus judging you and shunning you away because of your difference. You know what I mean? So there's, it's a lot. We breaking down a lot of barriers. We're breaking down a lot of conversations, and we're trying to have these conversations intentionally because we want people to really recognize that I do have a face. I do have a color. I do have a particular vernacular. I do like to do certain things. I actually skateboard. I like to skateboard. I like to do stuff that is different.
Yes.
Right? But it's okay.
Skiing,
All
yeah.
right.
I was like, that is amazing.
I know.
And see, I love rock.
Dan is a little different. I think Dan will actually do skydiving or something like that. I could just see Dan doing that.
I would not. My wife keeps talking about she wants to skydive. I'm a water person. I'll get in boats and jet skis and water ski and do all that stuff all day. But
I don't know about
I just confess, I love to crochet.
No judgment at all. No judgment at all.
All we want is a sweater, okay? You need to like put our little our organization's names on a sweater.
Yeah.
Or a little cap
There
or
you go.
something.
There you go, cap. Yeah.
Well, I never made a sweater, but there's always a first time. Don't have to, yeah.
I want to thank you all and for coming on, just being vulnerable, and talking about your organization, the amazing work that you do. Just knowing personally, and I haven't even known you all for a very long time either, but I just feel like family. It's been a great connection. I feel like we're building bridges here, which is supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
And now we got Lori, who has students who hopefully will at least sign up for the Porterhouse KC and get to know you and talk to you about some of what they're trying to do, so that way when they can apply, they'll be ready.
And I've sent information to my kids too, because the two of them, they have that entrepreneurial heart. So
absolutely,
that's good. That's good.
We love it. We love it.
Thank
you for having. Go ahead, Charon. My bad.
Thank you for having us. See how I had to get Thank you for having us, Dan. Usually, we don't really get a chance to talk about ourselves on a lot of platforms.
Yeah.
Usually we have a guest or we talk about them. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about ourselves.
I love your story. And I love that you're so personable. I mean, when you walked into my space that day, it was just like a friend, never met you all before, but you guys stayed for like an hour or so, like longer than what you're supposed to, because it was just a really good conversation. And you were very honest with me, which I think I've told you, I don't get that a whole lot. And it was just amazing to be able to talk to other entrepreneurs, people doing things for their community that really want to hear my story. That's cool, because I don't think, like you said, you don't really get to talk about your story a lot, and it's like kind of cool to be able to talk about your story sometimes.
Yeah.
But we'll make sure to put all your information out there. That way people can get a hold of you. This is going to go on Instagram as well. And I know with the art mentorship program, we had some people contacting our mentors from Arizona and California. So I don't know if people over there can be a part of your virtual program, but just in case you get some feedback from others.
There you go, a new spin-off, virtual. You always got to keep thinking from 2 steps ahead.
You do, and if it's one person, I'm going to be
renewing yourself.
Or Arizona, so they can be a part of this virtual stuff. But that's just that's how we get connected, right?
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any last words for our communities? I'll start with Dan.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Like Charon said, I appreciate you bringing us on, Deanna. On your platform, you're doing some really great stuff, some amazing things, and I'm just glad to be able to be witness of what you guys are doing. And I just say whatever we can do to help continue support. We're here. I know we don't have anything, so I got 25 cents in my bag, so I don't have no money. But whatever else that we could do, we could definitely to help support as much as we can. So
the way it works, we all got a quarter. It's $1.
There you go. There you go.
Exactly.
Work it out.
All right, Charon. So what's your last words?
My last words: stay positive, work together, and that's it. Just stay positive. Keep positive. Like when you think positive, positive things will happen to you. And I
That's
always
right.
preach that if you speak it into existence, it will happen. So,
Absolutely. Okay, Lori, your first co-hosting. You weren't a guest, you were a co-host. You did a great job. Thank you so much. And I love that you connected with the kids, and the kids are going to connect with them, and which is a great thing. So hopefully this was a good experience. You're going to come back, just come back. So
yes, come back and
Not
host.
inspire me.
what's your last word, Lori?
Oh, well, this is a great opportunity. Hopefully those who have tuned in, go to theporterhousekc.com, sign up for information, and let their works and Deanna's works and our works not be in vain.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Dan and Charon. Thank you, Lori. And we'll see you next time. Bye.